The purpose of school that they often tell me why I should graduate school is to get a piece of paper, obviously, diploma or whatever, GED, so that you can do things easier in life, get a job, things like that. Now, most people's dreams in life are not to get a job. It can be a job, it can be a lawyer or whatever, things like that. And schools obviously provide ways to do that in a way that's very daunting, I guess. It's like something anybody could do, but they don't make kids feel like it's something anything that people would do. Schools provide a way for kids to get jobs, and it teaches kids. It's just, I think the purpose of it is to make your brain function. Because doing questions in school, things like that, use the same kind of logic you use just in real life in general. Obviously, if someone had no education, they wouldn't really be able to function in society very well for those reasons. And the problem really lies in not giving people every option, really. It, all they ever tell you is that you have to graduate to be able to do everything, which just isn't true. What people need is reality, you know? And that's not really what schools teach you. That's not what anything teaches you. There's so many figures that are made by nothing, or not nothing. They're just made rather than being real, like real people, like CNN 10, I guess. It's always stuff that's super just. It's just not fair. It's just blown out of proportion, right? It's just people that are chosen. They have a thing called CNN heroes. It's people that are chosen and given this voice, right? But it's the fact that they're selected is a problem because not everybody can be selected like that. Schools don't really teach kids how to become things like that, how to accomplish their dreams, how to spread their voice. It's not taught by schools at all. And I mean, wouldn't really expect it to be. I don't really know how it would be. But the problem is people aren't given reality. And just doing things is the opposite of being afraid to do things. And you give kids the reality that they can do those things rather than they need to get a job or they're just gonna be homeless. They're gonna be shit like that, right? That's just instilling fear of something that isn't even fully true. And again, you need to not be afraid to be able to do things. So they should be encouraging kids to do things that shouldn't actually be so scary, following their dreams. And they should do that by giving kids reality. And I don't think that's what school does. I don't think that's what anybody does in the world, politics in general, I guess. It's a lot of fake stuff for no purpose, really, except for personal purpose of people with power. But reality should be taught and focused on because, because the opposite of doing things is being afraid to do things. And that's what you do. You want kids to do things. So many people do fucking nothing because they, pretty much every person every adult that I've ever met has had really big dreams at a younger age and settled for lesser dreams. And that's
Alright, so what I was saying is the reason people typically settle for lesser dreams is because overwhelming to them. And that's that's fear, it's stress really. Stress is the reason you want to avoid stress because you're scared of it because you think it's gonna suck. And I suppose I should elaborate on what I mean by the opposite of doing things is being afraid to do things. Um, for instance, myself, I'm a very anxious person. Like I'm disabled basically. And typically the reason I'm like lazy or anything like that, the reason anybody's lazy is because you think it's gonna suck to do. And you're afraid that it's going to suck to do. And if nobody was afraid of anything, well, I don't think that's possible really. People were taught to just not be afraid. That was how their brains were taught to function. Then what's stopping anybody from anything? You know? I suppose I shouldn't say you know. I'm a very anxious person, and the school solution for that is to try and medicate me, which I don't want to do. I think if that's your solution for everybody, that's your best solution for everybody, then it's going to be the only possible way for you to not be anxious at some point because it's genetic, right? That's another reason our reality is important because people get things for bad reasons, and then they're, I guess, in a way, their children are stuck with that being their only way to get things as well. And I don't know if that really makes sense, but what I mean by that is my father was he had an addictive mind, and so did his father. His father was a gambler. He was good at it, and my dad is a stockbroker, and he's just addicted to drugs. But he just relapsed a lot. He was like 64 when he died. And my point with that is now I am stuck being having an addictive mind and it being almost necessary for me to do drugs to be able to function. And I don't do any drugs. I don't function. And my point with that is that that's just where the reality becomes a problem. Well, the lack of reality becomes a problem because I was saying I was saying something about uh, I should look back at it first again, but I was talking about my dad, and I was saying that since I'm stuck a certain way, and the only solution is to medicate me, that the solution of that, and I guess the reason I think I honestly had it in my head, I didn't say it because it's kind of extreme. I do things like that, and I just forget what I was previously thinking about. That's why I just freeze up. Uh, Probably because I'm a chemically imbalanced person, because I probably should be relying on drugs. And my point is that you kind of just have to stop doing that at all for it to not be a thing. And obviously, it'd be a long term thing to just make it so that people have an easier time not being afraid, so that naturally people are afraid in the future. That's because your brain is, it functions based off how your previous parents' brain functions. And I mean, that's like a huge, like, probably something that would never happen is doing things so that people, you know, don't function the same way as their parents. And the only way you can do that is by not, having kids. So that would be bad. But what I mean is just if it was just drilled into my brain by school to not be afraid, then I wouldn't have anxiety problems. Other people wouldn't. And even people without anxiety, if it was just, taught into their head to not be afraid, they'd do more things. And that's when you just need, like, when schools were first made, it was by, those Greek philosopher people, right? Aristotle and stuff. And so that's more so what schools should be teaching people. But that would be teaching people a personal opinion of somebody, which is bad. So I don't know. They should just intentionally be teaching kids. Again, the main purpose of school that I think is indirect, which is teaching people's brains how to function. I think they failed at all. There's so many people that are, just as capable of learning things as anybody else, but they're just slower at it because it's something that happened, I'd say, in the school system, or maybe their parenting. I think all of this isn't just school; it's also parents that need to be teaching their kids not to be scared of things. But yeah, I don't know if I'll put this part in the middle. I'm just, yeah. I'd say my point is that schools need to be real with kids, and that would be a solution. I think all the fake stuff and all the fake figures and things like that should be just removed. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't have anything to propose to get rid of that, but I do believe that's the problem. Part of the problem. I don't know. I suppose it isn't up to school. It's up to people. But maybe that's my point. Is that you shouldn't trust the system to decide your life. You decide your life, and that's reality. And that's another thing that schools should be teaching people is that it's up to them. You know, it's not whether or not the school gives you the credibility. It's whether or not you have the credibility to do anything you want to do. And you can do anything you want to do, but you have to be able to do anything you want to do. It's just that you can be able to. And I just think that I'm not very organized with how I'm saying this. So it's not really going to be very effective. But I just wanted to practice talking, I guess. I guess you should do that too. Because, well, to do anything in life, I'm getting off rails, but to do anything in life, you're going to have to be selling something. Or not. And the way you do that is, say, what you want to do is just be something. Get to sell people the idea that that's what you are. And it helps to be that, to do that. You do that by talking. if you talk enough ideas at people, they're like, this person has like a lot of ideas, like good ideas. And I'm sure, I mean, you can learn sales and stuff from school, I guess, but can't really learn that. And should, I don't know. I guess it's like, obviously schools know, that's why they let you drop out, is because they know that it's true that it's not for everybody or whatever. It's just the fear thing, I think, is what should change.